Welcome to Reboot Body AI.
Intermittent fasting, you've heard the term everywhere, right? From health blogs to celebrity interviews. But what's actually going on inside your body when you change when you eat? Today, we're going to take a tour of the human body and see exactly how it responds to fasting. Okay, let's dive in. Welcome to your daily dose of biohacking and wellness information, proudly brought to you by Reboot Body. All right, before we get started, a super important note. The information we're talking about today is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice, and it's definitely not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure anything. Please make sure you consult with your doctor or another qualified healthcare professional before you make any changes to your health routine. I want you to think about this for a second. We spend so much time and energy focusing on what's on our plate. But what if the clock is just as powerful as the fork? What if the simple act of creating windows for eating and for fasting could fundamentally change our biology? That is the big question behind intermittent fasting. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to take that tour of your body. We'll start with the basics, what IF even is. Then we'll see how it affects weight loss. After that, we'll check in with the control center, your brain, before we visit your gut microbiome. And finally, we'll look at the absolutely crucial role of hormones. So let's start with a really clear definition. Intermittent fasting, or IF, isn't really a diet in the way we usually think about it. It's more of an eating pattern. It's a schedule that cycles between periods of eating and periods of voluntary fasting. And there are a few really popular ways to do it. The one you hear about all the time is the 16-8 method. It's simple. You fast for 16 hours and eat all your meals within an 8-hour window, say from noon to 8 p.m. Then there's the 5-2 diet, where you eat normally 5 days a week and then seriously cut calories on 2 other days. And for the more experienced folks, there's Eat, Stop, Eat, which involves a full 24-hour fast once or maybe twice a week. Okay, let's move on to the benefit that gets the most buzz: weight loss. This is the reason most people start their IF journey. And you know what? For good reason. It has a direct effect on your body's engine room, your metabolism. Researchers set up this fascinating head-to-head showdown. They pitted a 4-3 style of intermittent fasting against traditional daily calorie restriction. Now, the most important thing to see here is that both plans were designed for the exact same weekly calorie deficit. The only thing they changed was the timing. And the results? They were pretty striking. The study looked at how many people lost at least 5% of their body weight. That's the magic number where you start to see real, clinically meaningful health benefits. And as you can see, 58% of the intermittent fasting group hit that goal, compared to just 47% in the daily restriction group. That's a huge difference in the real world. So, what was the secret sauce? Was there some kind of metabolic magic happening? Well, not exactly. The real winner here was adherence. It turns out people just found it easier to stick with the fasting schedule. The dropout rate for the IF group was way lower, just 19%, compared to 30% for the daily dieters. It just goes to show you, the best plan is the one you can actually follow. All right, let's move from the engine room up to the control center, your brain. A really common concern people have is that fasting will lead to brain fog, that you won't be able to concentrate. But is that actually true? Well, according to a massive 2025 meta-analysis that reviewed 63 different studies with over 3,400 people, the answer is a pretty clear no. For most adults, short-term fasts, so think less than 24 hours, are unlikely to have any major impact on your mental sharpness. Your body is just really good at switching over to burn fat for fuel. But there's a more subtle and maybe even more powerful effect happening in our nervous system. Let's talk about heart rate variability, or HRV. It sounds a little technical, but it's just the tiny little variations in time between your heartbeats, and it's a fantastic indicator of your body's ability to handle stress. A higher HRV means you're more resilient, you're better recovered. So how does fasting help with that? Well, by giving your digestive system a break, you're allowing your rest and digest system, that's your parasympathetic nervous system, to become more active. This creates a better balance in your nervous system, which shows up as an improved HRV. So essentially, fasting can be like a workout for your nervous system, making you more resilient to all the stressors life throws at you. Now, let's travel down to what many scientists are now calling our second brain, the gut. The trillions of microbes that live there have a massive say in our health, and fasting gives them a whole new environment to play in. But what's so fascinating here is just how complicated and personal the results are. The science is still brand new. For some of the major groups of bacteria like Bacteroidetes and Firmicutes, some studies show they go up with fasting, and other studies show they go down. The big takeaway is that your unique microbiome is going to react in its own unique way. There is no one-size-fits-all gut reaction to IF. And that brings us to our final stop on the tour, the body's chemical messengers, our hormones. This is really where we tie everything we've talked about together, and we see why personalization is absolutely everything. First step is insulin. When you fast, your insulin levels drop a lot, and this is huge. Lower insulin makes your cells more sensitive to it, which is great for reducing diabetes risk, but it also, crucially, allows your body to more easily tap into your stored body fat for energy. Now, on the flip side, something actually goes up when you fast. Human growth hormone, or HGH, levels can increase dramatically. This is fantastic because it helps your body preserve precious muscle mass and maintain bone density, even while you might be losing weight. Now, this slide perfectly captures the nuance we've been talking about. Fasting can actually decrease the production of your thyroid hormones, which regulate your metabolism. Now, for someone with an overactive thyroid, this might be a good thing. But for someone whose thyroid is already a bit underactive, this could be a risk. This is the clearest example of why intermittent fasting is not a magic bullet and why you have to think about your own body. So, as we've seen on our tour, intermittent fasting is less of a diet and more of a powerful biological switch. It can influence everything from your weight and your stress resilience to your gut and your hormones. The real question isn't if it works, but how you might be able to use it as a tool to optimize your own unique system. If you feel empowered by today's knowledge, hit the like button. Better yet, subscribe to the Reboot Body channel now. Subscribing is your commitment to continuous optimization. Don't miss out on the tools you need to optimize your biology every single week. Thank you for watching. It's time to truly reboot body fat for peak performance.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.